You're listening to the Couch Friends podcast with Crystal, Jenna, and Christy.
All right, welcome back to the Couch Friends. We're so happy you're here with us, and we're going to have a great conversation today. Before we hop to it, let's check in and see how everybody's doing. I believe we're supposed to check in about my birthday. Because we went a partying last night.
Yes, ma'am. Until 10 o'clock.
And then we were like, time to go to bed.
I was falling asleep.
Well, I think we loaded in the car about 9:30, and I was like, Crystal, do you want to do anything else? And she was like in the middle of a yawn. She said, no, I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think we're done here.
So we just said, well, that's it. And then everybody else started yawning, and that was the end of the event.
Yeah.
We are wild party animals, your couch friends. You just never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, but it was so yummy.
It was
delicious.
Yeah,
And
good food, good company.
Yes, good company. We had 5 with us, so we are 3 on the couch today, but we do have 2 other couch friends.
We do.
Yep.
We hope to
Yeah.
introduce you to them one day really soon, but
Yeah.
They are pretty awesome.
Yeah.
They go out with us every time too.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're fun.
So we just sit around the table and we talk about girly stuff and mom stuff and we laugh a lot and
That we do.
yeah.
There's really no topic off the table when we go.
No.
There's really not.
Anything, and there's no judgment, and we all just usually feel the same or have gone through the same thing. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
It's very refreshing
Yeah.
when we
Yeah.
go out. So
Yes.
it was fun.
Always
Yeah.
fun.
So
Yep.
happy
It was
late
very
birthday,
fun.
Crystal.
Yeah, thank
Happy
you guys.
birthday.
It was super fun. All right, so today we're going to talk about social media. I
Wah,
believe
wah.
yeah. I believe we were like, "Oh, we should dive deeper a little bit into this topic when we were sitting around chatting last time." So that's what we're going to do today. And I'd love to open us with an icebreaker. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set my timer here for like 10 seconds. So in 10 seconds, I want to see if you guys, let's see how many social media apps or platforms you can list off. Okay, here we go. On your mark, get set, go.
Facebook, Instagram,
MySpace,
YouTube, Snapchat.
Ooh, I can't even think of any more. Snapchat,
How many is that?
TikTok.
Duh.
Oh, there we go.
Man, we only got 7.
Yeah, okay.
How many are there?
There are like 50 some.
50.
I know. So
Oh,
that's the
Twitter.
only reason I didn't join
Twitter.
in on the call out because I had already sort of looked at the list.
Cheat.
So that wouldn't have been fair.
So we got 7 out of 50.
So yeah, there's a lot here. I won't take up, too much time reading it, but there's a lot here. I was like, I don't even know what that is. Never heard of it. But you guys got the big ones. Spotify did make it on this list.
See, so maybe
some
we
of
got
you
8.
said- yeah, you said Spotify.
I did say Spotify.
And a lot of kind of stuff in between. But
Okay.
yeah, so there's like endless options. I love that you said MySpace because I was trying to think of that earlier.
Yeah.
I was like, what was that one that was before Facebook that like people were on, but we were all like, should we join it? Is it safe?
What is it?
Like, yeah. And then, Facebook exploded. So yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I feel like we did really good. In my little bit of research, out in the world, YouTube is the top social media platform in the world.
Really, even over TikTok?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
I believe that. I
believe
believe
it?
because I think everybody uses it as a search engine
Oh,
in
yeah.
addition to all its other uses.
And I guess just all the where you if you go to look how to do something, you go to YouTube, right?
Yeah, and I think it's accessible to all ages, because you have the
Yep.
YouTube Kids. So, even if kids aren't accessing actual YouTube, they're still on YouTube Kids
Right.
watching people's videos
Right.
and all of that kind of stuff.
Yes,
all
they
the
are.
videos. All the videos. So, let's talk about what's your social media use like. Do you have like a favorite platform that you tend to prefer or go to first? Do you have a limit of how many like that you let yourself kind of delve into? If you want to be really real and vulnerable, you could say like how many hours you think you use it. Yeah, so let's start there.
I think my go-to is Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I think I like it just because I feel like there's less ads than some of the other ones. And I really like watching the stories. And I know that Facebook has stories too, and TikTok has stories too, but I don't know. I guess it's just the original story place. So, and Instagram for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be mine too. I think it's the easiest one to consume.
And let's just say this. I mean, I can really get sucked into Instagram Reels.
Oh yeah.
Like just sitting there because sometimes they're just hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
They are hilarious. People are so creative.
Yeah.
And yeah, funny.
I think my go-to, the app that I will always click on first is actually Facebook. It's the first social media app I had, and just has always been, I think, my app of preference because I think I like the picture and the, like, you can put lists of pictures, and I think I just like the way it operates.
So, okay, but I have a question. So, talking about social media and how much time we sometimes spend on it, what good things can come from it, though? I think there's a lot of good things that can come from social media.
Oh yeah.
What have
I
you
agree.
experienced you think that's good?
I mean, I think it depends on who you follow and who's on your For You page, but
Yeah.
I come across stuff all the time that is encouraging, or maybe it's something I needed to hear, or maybe it's something that I'm like, oh, that's really cute. I think I need that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if that's good or bad. And I do like keeping up with people that I would not normally know what's going on in their life.
Yes.
That I think is a huge positive.
I think it's been good for a certain level of connectedness. There are things where you can stay connected with people that maybe aren't in your immediate life and see like, oh, this is what this person's going through, or this is where they are, or whatever. And you can message them and be like, hey, I haven't seen you in a long time, but I really loved, like, that this is going on in your life and all that kind of stuff. There's some good positive support.
Definitely.
I feel that can come from
absolutely.
it that, wouldn't have been there otherwise.
Yeah.
And okay, I think that's an interesting point. So, like when you've reached out to someone before who maybe you haven't talked to in 20 years, right? It seems like it doesn't feel as awkward because you feel like you are kind of connected with them a little bit.
That's
because
so
you
true.
see the updates in their life.
Yep.
A lot, so it's like, oh, I know about them, or I don't know. I've done that before where I've reached out to someone, or maybe something they posted, but maybe I haven't talked to them a long time, but something they posted touched me and I wanted them to know that, hey, just want you to know I'm thinking about you, or I hope that works out, or I hope your child gets better, or whatever it is.
Yes.
And it's not awkward to say that,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I will say too, like I've put some information, like sometimes I'll have a question and I don't know who to go to for the answer, but I'll end up going to like a Facebook page with like people, maybe I'm like, okay, maybe this group of people can help me or they'll know like that answer. And like I have found a doctor to help get some educational diagnosis kind of stuff done through Facebook. I wouldn't have maybe been able to do that otherwise, because I wouldn't have been able to know like who in my contact list here do I call,
Right.
or whatever. Or like the random internet search is like overwhelming. So to know this group of people is recommending that I go here or whatever, that has been really helpful. And this past week, I got a new to me washer and dryer.
That's true.
Because of Facebook.
Yes.
That's true. And you got a nice set.
Yeah, we're really
And a
happy with
deal.
it, thanks to the neighborhood community page. Like if I hadn't happened to be on my phone in Facebook at the moment that popped up, we would be probably at Lowe's or Home Depot like trying to buy a
Paying
new
a lot more too.
washer and
Spending
dryer,
more
which
money.
we didn't really want to do. So
Yeah.
I mean, I really do think there are definitely, good things like that. All right, let's go to the dark side.
I knew you were
What
going to
are-
ask this.
What are some negative aspects of social media?
I think for me, like when you ask that, the first thing that comes to my mind is the disconnect sometimes it gives, like in my own family, it can make us feel a little bit more disconnected from each other.
Yeah.
Obviously connected to the internet, but disconnected in reality.
Yeah.
Right? Because everybody's on their phone or their head's in their phone, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I try really hard, and I mean, it doesn't happen as often as obviously as I would like it to, but I try really hard to, even if it's for 30 minutes, we sit around the table and have dinner, right? Even if it's, okay, but someone's got to go, they've got to go here, go there, but we get some time together where you can, or like Sunday afternoons, if you're just, hanging out, even just watching a movie, or where no one has a device, or we're riding in the car or maybe on a road trip. No one gets a device for the first hour.
Yeah. And you're all fully present.
Yep. Present in the moment.
I think I would definitely say too, a negative would be just the culture of comparison that it's created. I mean, comparison has always been around.
Let me tell you this.
I think it's just more in your face now.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
my favorite quote, or one of my favorite quotes, is comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah. I love that.
It's so true, right?
It is.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I think that, comparing what's going on in your life versus somebody's perfect day, perfect vacation, perfect work situation, perfect whatever situation, it can be hard to work around without, I think you just have to check like yourself a lot.
You know how sometimes
like,
people will post like Instagram versus reality pictures.
Yeah,
Or
I love that.
it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. Like maybe they're trying to take family photos or something, and it's like, oh, this one looks fantastic, but these are all the pictures it took to get to that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's the reality, folks.
Yeah.
What would you say a negative is, Christy?
I definitely think it's that connected part. I also think that even though you can be connected to people, like we were saying, it's not the same as a connection like in real life, which I think is probably a big problem with the upcoming generation because they are a part of the phone generation. They've grown up with a phone from day one, whereas before that we were like the play generation, and we learned how to connect with others through play, and they're not doing that. So there's an amazing book too, I just want to mention, called The Anxious Generation, which talks about this a lot. But I think the genuine connection that we are missing from being on social media, there is a little bit of a disconnect there, I think.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about like our generation and how social media has affected our generation, because we are like you just said, the play gender.
Tuss is looking at my feet.
I thought somebody let a fart out or something. That's what I saw on your face. I was like, oh my God.
Tuss is looking at my feet. That is not the kind of video we are trying to make, Tess. Okay, please.
Okay, so you were talking, I saw him doing it. I'm like, okay.
It's bad enough our feet are in the video. We don't need to have them licked too.
Okay. Oh, Tussin, but I just love you, Miss Christy. You're my favorite.
Yes, I love you too.
But don't lick my feet.
Don't do that, though. Sorry, Crystal.
Oh my gosh,
Sorry.
no worries. Yeah, so like I was saying, our generation, we were the play generation. We didn't have all of the tech stuff. We're like the Apple IIgs. Like, like our school had one computer, when we were in elementary school. And then finally we ended up having like computer lab. And then I went to college and like we had an email address, but everything was still like turn your paper in. Like everything was like all like right in your hands, touch it, feel it. And for our kids growing up, it feels like it's totally the exact opposite.
Yes.
For them. So, I know I would love to talk about their generation, but I think for us, like, how has it changed our generation from how we were growing up to how we're kind of interacting with life now?
I think the biggest thing is the amount of information that we are constantly bombarded with. And with that, I think comes people who want to feel a part of something, and so they latch on to a cause or something like that. And doing that behind a keyboard or behind a phone emboldens people to, how do you want to say, just be really nasty to people online. Where you might not say something to somebody in real life, but you feel like you can say whatever you are feeling in the moment because you're sitting behind a screen.
Yep.
Sometimes
it's not even the same name of who you actually are, right?
Right.
Like you've got.
You can literally hide.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say is, you know, for our generation, and I would say this applies probably for the generation growing up, is that maybe the manners and etiquette that we were raised with as how to interact with other people is being lost.
Well, don't you think, growing up, right, we usually would have to make a phone call to someone, right? We couldn't text anyone. We really couldn't even email. Email wasn't really, it was a thing, but you didn't use it every day like you do now, right? So we had to have a conversation on the phone or actually like leave a voicemail. Do you remember leaving voicemails for people?
Yeah.
And so now I feel like, at least myself, you don't really call people anymore. You just text them.
Yeah.
So the whole conversation is on a text. And I don't know, because I think that may be just because people are busy. That's just what people do now. They text versus call.
Yeah. I'm guilty of that. I would much rather send a text, receive a text than a phone call.
Yep.
If somebody calls me, it's like, ooh,
what are they going to say?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do I want to answer
Because
it?
when you get the text message, you kind of already know. You're like, okay, let me think about what I'm going to say.
Right.
Or, oh, that's exciting. Or I don't know, whatever they're writing to you. Right.
Right.
Or I can table that. I'll get to them later. You know?
Yeah.
But a phone call, it could be anything.
Yep.
And then you have to deal with it right then because you're on the phone with them right then.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But going back to like the amount of information like that we just all consume because of all the different social media platforms and just everything that's like right at our fingertips all the time, I think also contributes to a lot of anxiety in society because, you know, when we were growing up, you watched the news on the TV maybe once a night. Your parents had the news on or something, you know, you heard about the stuff going on in the world or even around where you live maybe once a day. But now every time you open Facebook or, you know, Instagram or whatever your platform of choice is, you are also bombarded with news or people talking about the news or people arguing about the news. And it's just, I don't think we were created to handle all of that like at one time. It's too much for like our brains. And I think it contributes to,
and it can be so distracting too.
It can make you worry. It can make you anxious. And I think so. That's one of the negative things I think that comes from it. And maybe too, part of it is my fault that I follow news on social media. I could probably, you know.
Well, but you want to stay informed, but
I do.
You know.
That's another thing that has changed.
Yeah.
I don't watch the news anymore.
Yeah.
I get my news. I have two specific people that I follow on Instagram. Mo News. If you don't follow Mo News, you need to. He's amazing. It is a completely unbiased take on all the news. And it's a very personalized approach to it too. It's like, you know, you're following a person who like delivers the news to you in a very unbiased way, but like very informative. So that's how I like to get my news now, is from people like that. I don't need to sit and watch so-called journalists on the TV anymore.
I turn the news on the TV when there's a hurricane coming.
That's the only time I really do too. That's a good point. Yes.
Or if something has catastrophic has actually happened.
Same.
And it's everywhere. And I'm like, what is going on? And then I will turn on something.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I hear you. Can be overwhelming with all of the stuff coming at us, and then to try to decipher what's real, what's true, what's fake, what's AI, what all of the things, right? And I think the other thing, it can send anxiety like up, and I think the opposite of that, which I would probably tend to, is actually to just dissociate. I actually shut everything off, which is still a protection.
Sure. Yeah.
A protection defense, where I'll just come be like, well, I'm not going to listen to any news, and I'm not going to like
just turn it off.
Just click, not paying attention.
Right.
Which is probably not that healthy either.
But sometimes I think you need to, and it's necessary.
Yeah. So let's move to our kids' generation, because this is all they've ever known. I'll say my oldest was born right before the iPhone came out,
which was 2007, I think.
Yeah,
right.
So
iPhone
like
came out.
his, the way we documented his life pre-iPhone is so different from the way that our other two children's lives have been documented, even because we're like, oh, if we need a photo of our oldest, like we need to go to the box and like and look for a photo.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think we have maybe some kind of digital savings too, but everything, I mean, really, it changed so much. So, I mean,
quickly.
So how about your kids, our kids, their generation?
Like you said, it's hard because it's all they've ever known. I mean, my kids, they don't even know what it's like to probably write an essay on a piece of paper with a pencil and have to look up words and how to spell them in the dictionary. You know what I mean?
One of the funniest things that I always like to tell my kids is when I was in school, they used to tell us in math class, you have to learn this because you're not going to have a calculator in your pocket all the time everywhere you go. And look at us now.
Exactly. We have a pocket in our calculator.
Pocket calculator.
Duh. Wait, don't you have one?
Yeah.
A pocket. I don't have a pocket in my calculator, actually.
We have a calculator in our pocket everywhere we go.
Yeah. Not only that, we have a device that you can just talk to and ask, what is
blah, blah, blah,
this
divided
plus
by
this?
It is da, da, da. Okay, can you show me the work for that? Yes.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable, actually.
The amount of times my kids have been like, Alexa, spell.
Yep. My kids were asking her math equations last night, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
To
Okay.
check their work. To check their work.
Because this is different from the way we grew up, right? There's a couple ways we could go with this. We could be like, no, children, you need to grow up the way that we grew up. And you may not ask Alexa, and you've got to go pull that, dictionary off the shelf and da da da. Or there could be a middle road, or, be like, well, this is their life.
Yeah.
We need to embrace it. Like, where do you feel like you fall in that spectrum of technology and all that?
I think I fall on the side of let them use the technology that is available to them as long as they are learning how to do things.
As long as they can
for
still
themselves.
pass the test.
Right. As long as they learn how to do it, they know how to do it. I think the technology is a blessing in so many ways for all of us. It's definitely a curse in some, but it is definitely a blessing in others. So I say use it when it's for our advantage and for theirs, because we're not going to go backwards. It's only going to get more.
When they're in school, they're using the technology to do do your kids have school workbooks, books anymore, like hardbound books like we had?
Nope.
No, everything's electronic.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they use an iPad at school for everything now.
Yeah. So, what about YouTube and things that are accessible to our kids that maybe not like, okay, so we know like social media, the age limit, right, is 13. They're not allowed to make an account until they're 13. The science data is showing us that brain development is crucial in between the ages of 10 to 15. So even though 13 is right in the middle of that, there's still a lot of important stuff going on
Right.
inside here. Like, where do you guys stand with letting your kids have accounts at 13? Do you feel like you've already talked with them about what age? Are they asking? Like,
Well,
what's the conversation in your household over it?
this is something I think that, I mean, obviously this could be, people could come at me, you know, I mean, because it's just my opinion, right,
Yeah.
and how I've
Yeah.
done it with our kids. But I also think it's not necessarily an age. It can be just, you know, your child. You know what your child can handle and their maturity level, where they're at. And so I think you as a parent, if you take all of the factors into consideration, you really can make the best choice as to when you think they should have it. I don't know. For me, I don't know if it's necessarily, okay, you turn 14 or you turn 16, this day you get a Facebook. They might not be ready.
Right.
Yeah.
I might have thought they were ready at 14. I might not think they're ready till they're 18. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think at our house, it's just and that was the same thing with the phones, getting a phone when I felt that they were ready to get a phone.
Yeah.
So,
I
And-
agree.
yeah.
Yeah, I think my thought process is I don't ever want my kids to have social media as kids. But with that being said, I do think that once they are 14, 15, 16, if it was something that they, you know, were just really wanted or something, and I felt like they were able to handle it and they were mature enough,
Yep.
I might consider it. But like as of right now, I mean, my kids are 13, 11, and 9. My 9-year-old would love to have social media, and that is just not happening.
Yeah.
Maybe ever for her.
Yeah.
Right.
But because I do, there is a difference between girls and boys and how social media affects them. I mean, the research shows that's factual. So yeah, I mean,
I think it comes down to it's up to the parent.
yeah.
you
And,
know?
and it is, I think,
It's their
based
decision.
on the child and,
Yep.
and their ability to be mature and handle
Yeah.
it correctly.
I will say, out of my 2 that are age eligible for social media, one didn't want it at all, and then chose, when he did decide, he chose one platform, and really it was just because he needed to interact with his friends, you know, outside of the little bit of classroom time that they had together. And it was almost like at that point when he was 18, I encouraged him, like, it's okay for you to have this now.
Yeah.
Like, you do need to kind of see what your friends are,
Yeah.
what's going on, what are they posting, to kind of interact with them, because it really is such a social, a huge part of social interaction now.
Yeah.
I think, like,
It's just the reality of it now.
yeah. And so for him to not have it, I was kind of like, well, you're kind of missing out a little bit,
Yeah.
like,
Definitely.
on what's going on. I mean, I wasn't like pressuring him or anything to get it. It just, I was like, you're at an age now that, like, if you want to have it a little bit, it's okay, because we've talked about a lot how what's okay, like what content to avoid. You know, if you do see content, you're like, that's not safe content for me, because I've made, you know, choices in my life not to look at certain things, that, like, we don't do that. Like, we avoid it. And so I've trusted him like that, but I was also, I think for him, it was like a thing he had to trust himself too. And then my other one, he's on a couple different platforms at a younger age than, you know, his brother, and that too is kind of just like, he was asking, and at first we were like, well, you know, like, here's all the potential, you know, issues that would come with it. We don't want that for your life. Yeah, so, like, in our house with our kids, we just try to keep the conversation open, and you know, let them know, like, what are the risks, think through it with them, help them, just give them food for thought before they, you know, make the decisions that they do regarding social media, and of course other things in life as well. So yeah.
Smart. Yeah.
So, kind of after everything we've talked about today, what boundaries do you think you would like to set for yourself, or maybe already have set for yourself as far as social media goes?
One of my boundaries I have for myself is to try not to pick my phone up first thing in the morning when I wake up.
That's really good.
I think it just starts the day off on a much better foot if I don't. I probably need to set boundaries for the amount of time in the evenings that I spend on there, because I think it does cut into my sleep that I really need. And it's just not a good use of my time.
What about you, Crystal?
I think for me, first of all, I don't have any notifications set on like
a good
as
one.
regards to social media, so I'm not getting pinged like so and so posted or this and that, and
That's
there's a
good.
new
That's
this
a
or
good
that.
one.
So
I like that.
if I'm going into social media, it's because I'm choosing to go check things out or whatever. I'm not getting like notified that something new is coming across. So that's, I feel like that's one way. Now, do I miss some things? Yeah, I do, but I'm okay with that. And then I think one boundary that I feel like I would like to set, because I do find myself often kind of going in when I need like a moment to just like veg. The first thing I do is like pick up my phone. I'm just like, well, let's see what's going on.
Yep.
Do. And so I think for me, maybe just setting a time of the day where that's allowable. So it's not like multiple times a day, but, you know, like once or twice a day. And the other thing actually that I do now more is actually I do less. Like I don't feel, I think maybe when I was newer to social media, which I'm not like an expert by any, like not an expert, but I think I felt like, oh, I have to post something every day. And now I'm just like, well, I'm not going to do that. Like I'll just post something when either something special is going on in my life, or if it's like a special moment and I want to tell the world or whoever cares about it. So I don't feel like I have to do this or else people won't remember me or something like that. I just, you know, and I don't have to post about every special event. I've just, every once in a while, just be like, oh, I feel like it. Like when I'm like, I want to, not like, cause I have to. Yeah. So I would say like
I
those
really
things.
like your suggestion on the no notifications.
I do too.
I don't think I get notifications for Instagram, like, you know, to my lock screen or anything, but I definitely do. I get the little red flag for like the one or whatever for Facebook. It'll show me that something's happened there right on just my lock screen. But I like that, because then if you don't know it's there, you're not going to be like, oh, what is it?
Right.
What did somebody say? What did somebody post? Right? Like did
The
somebody
FOMO.
Yeah. The FOMO. Yeah. But I think when I was thinking about this question for myself, I've tried. My boundary was to kind of stay off of social media from the time my kids get home from school until like 7 p.m. or even 8 p.m. So through the getting home, homework, dinner time, you know, getting ready for bedtime, just to have like 4 solid hours. Now, do I do that every day? No.
It's a good goal, though.
It's a good goal.
Yeah.
And just be like, okay, at least I know during that time I'm not going to.
Yeah.
And try to be a little more present or check in with the kids, make sure everything's good, you know, or obviously I think that's probably my busiest time too. So it's a little bit easier to do, but just to really focus on them, or, you know, a little bit of family time, the little bit that we get during that time. So, yeah.
There was a period of time a few years ago where I completely took it off of my phone. I had no social media apps on my phone, and I didn't go on it for, I don't know, it was maybe like a month or two. And like, I don't know, you kind of feel like you are missing out at first, and like you are going through a little bit of a withdrawal. But I have to say that after that subsides, I didn't think about it at all. I didn't miss it at all. It is definitely like an addiction that we have.
You know, I was thinking about, that happened to me when I went on a cruise one time. I had to be completely disconnected. And at first I was kind of like, well, what? But then my husband, he was too cheap to pay for the internet package, you know? I mean, shocking, right? And, yeah, I mean, it was 7 days, but you're right. Kind of halfway through, you just kind of forgot about it. Live in the moment and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of
kinda
nice.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you came back and you're like, oh, I have to deal with this now again. You know, it was almost like, oh, I don't know. It was a nice escape of reality.
Mhm.
So
All right, so we're going to kind of round out our conversation today with a couple of fun questions. So we all know Facebook, Insta, YouTube, they advertise to us.
Mm-hmm.
So what is one thing, or maybe more than one thing, that a social media platform has convinced you
that
to
I
buy?
needed.
Yeah.
Mine is mostly, it's not the ads, it's the people I follow
Mhm.
who, it's products or something that they use, or I don't know, clothing or something that I see that I'm like, oh, that's so cute. Or something really useful that, I don't know, that they have in their Amazon storefront, or there's so many things. I mean, I got to think of
Makeup
a specific
products,
because,
hair
yeah.
products. I mean, hair products for me.
Yeah.
I follow this one influencer that I followed forever, and I just think I'm like, well, if she says to buy it, it must be good. I got to get it.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. I feel like the influencers that I do follow, it's like, it's very beneficial because they're doing all the research for me.
Yep.
And then they're telling me, that's people that you learn to kind of trust their opinion about things. And so I feel like, well, if they're telling me that this is a great product and I need a product like that, then okay, they've already done the work for me and I don't have to
Sold.
risk buying something else that's not going to be very good. So yeah.
I'm going to say mostly Facebook, because it's either Facebook or Insta for me, that I'll be like scrolling and then they're like, hey, you need this from Amazon. Look at this cute dress that you were looking at before. You need to look at it again and again and again. And I'm like, okay.
Yep.
And then usually, like, if I've purchased something from a website, they'll circle back around and be like, oh, hey, that website you really like, they have something new.
There's something else you might like.
Yeah. So, hey, you need to check it out. And I always get sucked in.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
always
That
like
kind of stuff.
they seem to just keep finding you.
Yeah.
You know,
Wherever you go.
Yeah. Oh, well, now they're going to be on this platform. Let's just
Yeah.
put an advertisement here. It's
Exactly.
like, all right, I guess I need that.
Yeah. Have you guys ever had where you've had a conversation out in the open and then you open your social media and it's like right there and you're like,
Oh,
yes.
"Ooh." Yeah, it's scary.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Like, say we're talking about, I don't know, buying some product we need to buy or whatever. Like, I don't know.
Could be toothpaste or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next time one of us opens our phones, there's the ad for the toothpaste.
Yep.
Mhm.
It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
There's ears everywhere.
anybody can help us out with that.
It's a
Why
little
does that happen?
creepy.
It's really weird
Yeah.
because we never Googled it. We just talked about it. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you have a favorite reel, stories, or shorts? Maybe person or channel or just in general. It could be like just a theme that you like to watch, that kind of like you get sucked in. Like you watch one and you're like, oh, there's another one. It's so cute. And then like 1 hour later, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm watching all of these cute little shorts.
Well,
on
speaking
the
of
same
cute,
thing.
I get sucked into the animal ones. If I click
Oh.
on any dog or cat or pig or whatever the animal is, and then it just keeps showing you those things. Yeah, those suck me in.
I love those. I love the dancing ones. Like they're just, I don't know. They're short. But they've got a good beat and it's a good song playing. And there's one Instagram reel that I always see that's there's two guys and they're literally like at a skating rink. I mean, they're
Oh, yeah,
older
I've seen
guys
that
and they're
one.
skating and they're just jamming. I mean, they are good.
Yeah.
And they're just going along and I'm like, I don't know, it kind of picks me up. You
Yep.
know, I love watching their stuff. So those and the dog videos always get me.
Mhm.
Always.
Yeah, I have to say, Biscuit is the product of social media. We have Biscuit. I'm pretty sure we have Biscuit because my daughter and I, right before she would go to bed, this was when she was little, we would just watch like one little dog video and it'd be from the same like person, the same dog. And it was like they put like little captions on the dog. And
Yeah.
so we would read them and laugh together and stuff. And that kind of opened our hearts to being like, well, maybe we do need a dog. And now we have Biscuit.
See?
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, it works,
Something
man.
good.
It works.
Something else that's super funny, I think we share these a lot in our group chat, is the ones that are just really relatable, where it's an older person not making fun, but just acting like maybe middle schoolers
Mm-hmm.
saying the things that they say or the
Yes.
the words, right? And it's
Yeah.
just like it's hilarious. They do
It
a great
is.
job.
Yeah.
It is.
Got a
There's-
lot of
it's
the
like,
comedy reels.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
my life. That's
Yeah.
what I deal with.
There are so many creatives
Yep.
on
Yep.
social media. The stuff too. I mean, it's not just keeping up with your friends and family, it is entertainment, and it is information, and it is, your shopping place. I mean, it is
Yep.
like so many things now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, it's also
Yep.
why it's so addicting to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and I was gonna say too, Christy, we always talk about, what do you always say? It's kind of like a dopamine.
Yeah.
Yeah, the scrolling and the constantly needing to like click on something
Yeah.
and get a different video, or it's every time you hit it, it's a dopamine hit
Yeah.
Mhm.
in your brain, and
And-
that's what keeps us clicking and scrolling and clicking and scrolling.
All right, so couch friends out in the world, we would love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on social media? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you engage in it but wish you didn't, or somewhere in the in between? Give us a comment on if you agree with our conversation today, or if there's parts of it that you want to add to. We would love to hear how social media has personally affected you or your family, or maybe a social group or two that you are involved in. Just anything that you would love to add to the discussion. We would love to hear it, and maybe it will even generate another Couch Friend podcast.
Yeah.
Where we can talk even more about what you guys think out there. So
And speaking of social
Yeah.
media, go to ours and join our Facebook group if you would like. Don't forget to go to the YouTube channel and subscribe, and you can watch us there. And we're on all the social media platforms pretty much. You can find us on TikTok,
Follow us on Spotify.
Spotify,
Yep.
Facebook, Instagram,
Audible. We're on Audible.
Yeah.
all right. So thank you for joining us on the couch today, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.